It's time to start adding talent to the Jaguars roster and take a look at the free agent pool. This roster needs a lot of help. You don't go 1-15 for no reason. You also don't put pineapples on your pizza, but who am I to tell you what to do? I've never actually had pineapples on my pizza, mainly because I'm a little bit afraid I'd like it. Now I don't want to become that guy, who wears turtlenecks. Anyway, not the point of the video. The point of this video is to see who the Jaguars can add in the offseason to add talent to the roster. Let's get into the video. I think the biggest need for the Jaguars is their defensive line, mainly the middle of their defensive line. A lot of people focus on the outside pass rushers because they're usually freak athletes, built like Greek gods with bulging muscles. Oh, and they're pretty good football players too. But one can argue that the interior pass rush is just as important as those guys on the outside. You get somebody in the face of a QB, he's uncomfortable in the pocket, doesn't have a chance to step up and throw, possibly even hit his hand on a helmet and break a finger. In some countries, that's considered just as good. A part of the reason the Jaguars' 2017 defense was so successful was because they had Calais Campbell in the middle, who was incredibly disruptive and collapsed the pocket all the time. So for this pickup, I'm going with defensive tackle Leonard Williams from the New York Giants. This year, the Giants used him as a defensive end and a defensive tackle, and he accumulated 11.5 sacks. Former top 10 picked by the New York Jets. After an okay rookie year, his sophomore season was a lot better. He finished with 7 sacks, and then his production dropped off, and he got traded to the New York Giants, which I believe is possibly the easiest trade you can handle as an NFL athlete. You don't have to look for a new home. You don't have to get the U-Haul truck. You don't got to change cities. All you got to do is change your jersey. His first year with the Giants, he only had half a sack. The Giants applied the franchise tag, and this year he had 11.5 sacks. He has shown some inconsistencies in his play, but he's still young at 27 years old and a guy who definitely could help this defensive line. Now his price tag will definitely be a high point and will possibly be battling other teams for a guy like him. So if we go with the cheaper option, I can look at the Jaguars possibly getting somebody like Sheldon Rankins from the Saints. He's just as young. He's had an inconsistent career with injuries and things like that, but he has a lot of skills in the pass rushing department that he can help bring to this Jaguars team. Staying on the defensive side of the ball, the next need is safety. It is an unwritten rule that you can only have one guy on your football team with long blonde hair. So Trevor Lawrence, you're going to have to shave your head because Andrew Wingard, he ain't going nowhere. 2 guys I would like to potentially bring in at safety is Justin Simmons, and if we can't get Simmons, Marcus Williams. Simmons has steadily been improving since he came into the league in 2016. Last year he finished with his best season, 94 tackles, 5 picks, and earning a trip to the Pro Bowl. I think that the Broncos find a way to work a contract to keep him, but he would still be a guy I would want on this team as a rangy safety in the back. Now, if we don't get Simmons, the next guy on my list at the safety spot is Marcus Williams, the guy most notable for missing the tackle on Stephon Diggs in the 2017 divisional round. But it was just one missed tackle. Just like it's one pineapple on your pizza, now all of a sudden you're a certified psycho. Besides that play, Williams has been one of the best cover safeties in the NFL, and his mental toughness to come back from a play like that and not let it affect his career is noteworthy to me. A guy at the safety spot who has connections to head coach Urban Meyer is Malik Hooker, who played at Ohio State with Urban Meyer. He's battled some injuries in his career. He would be the cheaper option, and he has one of the best last names in all of football. Now, if we don't go after safety, possibly address it in the draft, we still have Gerard Wilson, who wasn't the worst safety, but again, an upgrade would undoubtedly help this defense. Now let's move on to the offensive side of the football. I think the biggest question for the Jaguars this year is what they do at left tackle with Cam Robinson. If we decide to let him go and go the free agent route, I would go after Trent Williams. He has consistently been one of the best left tackles in the NFL, even coming off an injury in 2019. He played really well this season. And he's also punched Richard Sherman in the face. Not many people have that on their resume. He's probably going to want a lot of money, and he's also 33 years old, so for him, trying to join a rebuilding team is probably a stretch. If we don't go free agency or we don't go the draft for left tackle, then I assume the Jaguars would franchise tag Cam Robinson and give him 1 year prove-it deal to see if he can put it together at that left tackle spot. We can also upgrade the guard position with a guy like Brandon Schreff. I don't know if that's exactly how you say his name, but that's how I'm going with it. Or a guy like Joe Thuney. I'm all for spending money in the trenches, especially with potentially a new QB coming to protect him so he can have a clearer path to throw. But finding a guard in the draft or a second-tier free agent would probably suffice. The trenches are important, but not as sexy as the skill positions. So giving Trevor Lawrence more weapons, not too shabby of a plan. So I'm starting with Allen Robinson. Could the Jaguars reunite with Allen Robinson? We would have James Robinson, Allen Robinson, Cam Robinson, so many Robinsons. Trevor Lawrence might even change his last name.
I'll do it. I don't give a fuck. I'll do it.
Robinson has been productive with awful QB play. QBs such as our very own Blake Bortles, Mitch Trubisky, and Nick Foles. But this is a new Jaguar team. You're not going to have to deal with those type of guys anymore. Hear me out on this, Allen. You probably have property here in Jacksonville. You don't want it to become a liability. You see what's going on with the stock market. You don't want to put your money there. Protect your money. Come back to Jacksonville. Do the right thing. Anyway, I think signing him would actually be a long shot because other teams have a lot of money to spend, and he would probably go to a guy who's already a proven QB that he know he can be successful with. But still a guy I would want back in Jacksonville, especially because he was one of my favorite players before he left. We can also look into bringing a guy like Kenny Golladay from the Detroit Lions. Last year he dealt with injuries, but he posted 2 back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons from 2018 to 2019. And in 2019 he also led the NFL with 11 receiving touchdowns. A guy who's possibly on the cheaper end that has connections to Urban Meyer is Curtis Samuel. Samuel has steadily improved since his rookie year, last year finishing it with his best year with 851 receiving yards and also had 200 rushing yards. He's a versatile player, similar skill set to a guy like Huncho Viska, get him in space type player, make people miss, so that'd be a fun player to have in his offense. Also with Huncho Viska's injury history and his playing style, he likes to just run over people. Having him as a depth player would definitely help. And last on this list is tight end. And with the Jaguars possibly getting rid of Tyler Eifert, we could look at free agency for his replacement. That's someone I'm looking at is tight end Jonnu Smith. Mainly because I'm tired of watching him run open against the Jaguars defense every Sunday. He's a solid tight end with good wide receiver skills, and he was part of an offense where he didn't see that many targets because the Titans offense was centered around Derrick Henry, as it should be. I think adding an athletic tight end to this team will help create mismatches and open up the middle of the field. Let me know what you're thinking about these potential free agents. I'm mainly focused on the top tier names, the guys who probably cost a lot of money, but if there's anybody that you think that would be cheaper, that you think are better than these options, definitely leave a comment down below on who you want to see come to the Jaguars next year through free agency. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to everyone who subscribed. If you guys stuck around for my horse shit, definitely hit the like button, and I'll see you next video.